guys, it's Sheila Shimmers. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I haven't really done a video on primers, but I thought last week when Ulta came out with that super sale for primers, I was browsing through them and I thought I was going to get so much stuff, but then once I started reading through them, I realized how picky I am with primers and how important they are to me because I really cannot do my makeup without primer. I know there's a lot of people that don't use primers, but I am a firm believer on primers. I don't think that you have to apply it all over your face, but I do think that there are some areas of things that I can't really live without and that I really have to fix before I apply my foundation and everything, and it really just makes a difference. So I wanted to review and kind of compare this new e.l.f. primer that I just got. This one is new. It's called the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer, and I have it right here. As you can see, I haven't even opened it, taken it out of the package or anything, but I do think that the texture is very similar from what I saw in the pictures. Even the color is very similar to my favorite primer ever, and this one is by Tarte. This one is the Timeless Smoothing Primer. So I wanted to compare them, put them side by side, and see how I feel about them. If I feel like they're this is a dupe for this one, because this one, my friends, it's very pricey. So we're going to be doing that today. I'm going to be telling you all the details about both of them. So like I said, I'm going to be talking about this e.l.f. Putty Primer. I'm going to take it out of the packaging and I'm going to let you guys know how it looks, how much it costs, and everything. I got this one at Ulta. You can get it, I think, at the e.l.f. website and then some other places. I haven't really seen it at CVS or anything, but I think it's available at Target. So there it is. This is what it looks like. It comes in this really thin kind of little packaging. I'm going to go ahead and open it and you can see right there how the texture looks. It's kind of like on the pinky side. I kind of really like it. It's very like pasty. It is obviously a... Ooh. I'm putting my hand on it and it looks like nothing is going on my finger, so I think you kind of have to like dip into it. I'm going to be reading online what it says and how much it costs. It retails for $8 and I don't know how much product it brings. Maybe the box will tell me. It brings 0.74 ounces and it says the Skin Perfecting Poreless Putty Primer is infused with esqualane to help grip makeup for all-day wear and help protect the skin from moisture loss. The velvety texture glides effortlessly over the skin, smoothing over imperfections for a poreless effect. I want to talk a little bit about what I look in a primer, especially a paste primer like this one. Usually I'm looking for something that would cover up and, you know, my texture right here and like kind of fill up my little gaps that I have. I also look for something that would make my foundation look very smooth, especially in this area right here where I have the most texture, and just overall make my, you know, my foundation, everything just last all day. So something that is super sticky. I like sticky primers because I feel like the products just grip to it a little bit better. And I just find that, I don't know, I really love this Tarte one. I feel like it's super long lasting. I will talk about it in a minute, but this one is just my favorite, so I really hope that this e.l.f. is kind of a dupe for this one. So I'm going to read a little bit about the Tarte one, and then we'll go ahead and compare them side by side. So here's the Tarte one. It is called the Timeless Smoothing Primer. You kind of unscrew the top, and here is your product. As you can see, it's very similar in color to the e.l.f., but I have definitely dipped into it a lot. It is very different in price, let me tell you. This one brings 0.5 ounces, so the e.l.f. one brings a lot more product than this one, but this one retails for $39. I got this one at the Ulta website as well. It says that it's good for normal, oily, combination, and dry skin. It says a primer featuring innovative blurring and filling technology that gives a more youthful appearance while prepping the skin for makeup. It is paraben-free, formulated without mineral oil, triclosan, and gluten. It is formulated to fade out your biggest beauty boundaries such as large pores, fine lines, and wrinkles. The antioxidant-rich formula gently melts into your skin, delivering a surge of moisture, peptides, and other natural-derived elixirs for a firmer, smoother appearance. Lightweight texture and fresh powder scent provide the perfect blank canvas to enhance the look and wear time of makeup. So I never noticed that it had a scent, but now I do. It does smell really delicious. It smells like a fragrance. So this is how it looks like right here. I'm going to first compare them in terms of packaging so you can see the sizes of them. This is them side by side right here. Obviously the Tarte one is a little just more appealing. It has that gold cap. It is glass. But I don't think the e.l.f. one is super bad itself. I'm going to open them up and compare the shade and kind of the texture. I'll also be putting them both in my hand before I try them on on my face. The e.l.f. one, I feel like it's a little bit more pink. This one, I think it's a little bit more just transparent, but it looks a little bit pink in the kind of like beige, I would say. As far as texture, I feel like the Tarte one definitely has kind of like that putty texture. Like when I go and grab it, you can see right there how it looks. It doesn't really apply like super evenly. You kind of have to like go in and smooth it out. Here is the Tarte. This one works really well. It definitely blurs everything underneath. It feels super nice on the skin. It still leaves a little bit of like that sticky texture, so you know that your foundation is really gonna grip to it. And you can see right there, well, I don't think you can see, but I can see that my skin looks a lot better on that little section right there. This one definitely covers up wrinkles. It covers up your pores really well. I feel like this is probably my best primer that I have for pore filling. The only one I would compare to this one is the Touch and Soul, but I think that the Tarte one doesn't have silicone. Don't quote me on that, but I think it doesn't. I'm going to go ahead and just dip into the e.l.f. I'm going really hard because like you saw, I couldn't really get much of it, but you can see right there that it's a little bit more liquidy in texture and a lot softer than the Tarte. I have the Tarte right here on the top. I'm applying this one on the bottom. So this one definitely does feel more like a liquidy one. It is very interesting. It definitely feels a little bit more like softer, and it kind of leaves a film. Like I'm feeling kind of like a leftover of the primer, but not really like a stickiness to it. Kind of like if I just apply like a moisturizing primer. That's kind of how I feel. On my hands, I can definitely feel that the Tarte one kind of smoothed out my hand. I can't really show it on camera, but the e.l.f. one didn't do much to my hand. It feels a little bit thinner than the Tarte. I feel like the Tarte definitely creates like a thick layer. I'm going to go with the Tarte one first. I have it right here in my hand. And this is the side where I have the most texture and the more dryness. So I want to use the e.l.f. one on this side because I already know how the Tarte one works on this side. It definitely fixes everything. So I'm going to use the Tarte on this one, and I have it right here in my hand. Usually I would warm up the primers with both of my fingers and then go on my hand, on my face, because that way it works a little bit better. But I found that with the Tarte one, it doesn't really make a difference. It just makes a mess. So I'm going right onto my skin. And let me bring you a little closer for this. So I'm going right into my skin, and you can see how it started already to blur it out. You can compare it to this side. It's a really nice primer. It's honestly worth every penny. I would repurchase this for the rest of my life. If they ever discontinue this, I will have a fit with Tarte because I love this. So I'm going to come a little closer. You can see that it definitely smoothed it out. It took a little bit of that, you know, very bright thing that was going on that wasn't really pretty or flattering. And it just like smoothed everything out a little bit better. It obviously doesn't do a miracle. It doesn't have any, it's just a primer. It's not going to cover anything up like imperfections, but it does fill up your pores, and I feel like it does a really good job. So, oops, I overdid it on my nose. I kind of went over where I wanted to. I'm going to be putting a little bit on my forehead, just on this side right here. And we will compare side by side. I hope that you're seeing how this side looks a lot more blurred. And I'm going to be putting a little bit on this side as well, because I have a lot of texture there as well. So that is a Tarte right there, versus this side where you can definitely see the difference on my forehead. You can see the difference on my cheeks. You can definitely see how this side just looks very smooth now, and you can't really see those little, you know, those little holes that I have on my face, which I hadn't. So now I'm going to go into the e.l.f. one. I'm going with my finger, and obviously this one just feels very weird on my hand, but I'm just going to go and swipe this on the right side, right here. I don't really see much of pore filling going on. Maybe the foundation will wear really nice throughout the day, but I'm going right under my eyes. I don't really see it doing anything about blurring or anything like that. I mean, I see it a little bit actually, but it's not as heavy as the Tarte one. I feel like the Tarte one is just very, very nice. Going right here. I'm basically going to apply it everywhere I applied the Tarte. And we can see if it actually made a difference. I feel like it's making a tiny, I think I see it. going on my nose over here. I'm going to go a little bit heavier on this area right here because I'm going to give it just a fair try. I don't want to put this away saying that I hate it before I even try it. So I feel like I applied a good amount right there. So I'm going to go with 2 fingers. Just apply it on the rest of my face over here. Alright, so there it is. I don't feel like this one did anything. I mean, if I compare it to the Tarte one, I feel like the Tarte definitely left a very smooth area. You can definitely even see it on my face, how it's just sitting there. This is not a primer that, you know how people like apply some primers that they just leave on their faces for a full day without like applying anything else to it? The Tarte one is not one that you actually can do that. You have to like definitely cover it up because it's very like muddy, and I don't know, I feel like the e.l.f. one is not like a putty primer. I was expecting it to be as thick as the Tarte one, and it's just very like soft and liquidy. So far I think that the e.l.f. one did a pretty nice job at filling my pores, but it doesn't really compare to what the Tarte one did. And obviously, like I said before, this is my problem area, so I feel like the e.l.f. one is actually performing really well. I just expected it to have a different texture is all. But I don't think I have any complaints so far. I'm going to apply the rest of my makeup and then we'll compare them side by side to see if the e.l.f. one can actually live up to its expectations today, because this one, hands down for this one. So my makeup is done. I don't have any kind of blurring effect on my camera, so you're gonna see exactly how my face looks, and I feel like honestly I do not see any difference. So just to remind you, I do have the Tarte primer on my left side of my face, and I have the e.l.f. one on my right, and I do not see a difference. So I'm gonna zoom you guys in a little bit. I'm gonna also put it a little bit darker on my camera. Ooh, too dark. I'm putting it darker so you can definitely see, because when you have it really bright, it kind of blurs out your skin a little bit, and this way you can really see what's going on my face. Let's start with my forehead. I have a textured forehead. If I don't put any primer on it, it would definitely show. We are not having any kind of texture right here whatsoever on either of the sides, and I'm super impressed at that because the e.l.f. one is definitely just working as well as the Tarte one, at least on my forehead. Moving on to my nose looks really, really nice as well. I, for some reason, have a line right here, but I don't know where that came from. Let's ignore that. But as far as texture, my nose looks really, really nice, I feel like, on both sides. We're having a little bit of dryness over here. This is something that I can't help, not even with the Tarte one, so we're just going to ignore it. Underneath my eyes, this side right here is looking a little bit dry versus the e.l.f. one, but, I mean, I can't help that either. But so far, the e.l.f. one on this area is looking better than the Tarte. Moving down a little bit right here on the texture area, this is where I have the most trouble, like I said. So I definitely wanted to see if the e.l.f. one compared to the Tarte. These two places right here are looking exactly the same. They're looking just a tiny bit textured because I have a lot of texture, and even with this pore filling primer that is magical, I still have some texture that I cannot hide. But my face is looking really, really smooth, and there are some areas, like things that I'm just noticing. There's this line right here, but there's also this little line right here. So I don't know, that really, like, you know, I have this one over here and this one right there. I feel like it's just performing the same way. I have no texture in this area whatsoever. I feel like the e.l.f. one really, really surprised me. It didn't feel like much because when I first applied it and when I first touched it, it didn't feel like anything to the touch. It was just one more primer that was liquidy. It didn't really feel like a putty primer, which is what I like on like a pore filling one. I need to feel that it's really going to do something. But this one definitely has a better texture in my opinion, that just, or maybe I'm just lying to myself and thinking that this works best. Super impressed with this little thing because I really think that it actually paired up to the Tarte. This one is only $8, this one is $39. You're saving yourself $31 right there. So I would definitely recommend you guys and go and try this one out. Obviously, every skin is different. I don't want to tell you that this is the best primer ever and then when you go buy it, you are disappointed. Obviously, this is just based on my opinions from this one video that I'm doing. I will keep testing out and I will let you guys know how I still feel about it. I want to mention the foundation I'm using, by the way. This one is a Too Faced Peach Perfect. I don't feel like this one really blurs out my skin, so everything that you're seeing right here is from both of the primers just working. And the concealer that I used was the Jouer. This is a really good concealer, but I only applied it right underneath my eyes. So I feel like this actually looks really, really nice. My skin looks really smooth. and I'm not seeing any fine lines other than this little line right here and right here. My forehead looks amazing. You know, it just looks really, really nice. I feel like both of them just really did a great job. So if you're interested in buying the e.l.f. one, I would say why not just go ahead and try it out. And if you already use the Tarte and you want to save yourself some money, then go ahead and buy the e.l.f. one, because I think that is actually a dupe. I would definitely be using it. Maybe I will just save the Tarte one for special occasions, because this one is just going to be my new everyday primer. That said, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope this video was helpful to you guys. If you were interested in finding a new primer, if you had trouble with your texture, because trust me, I struggle with it every single day. So I will let you guys know what things I'm using and what things work for me. And as always, don't forget to subscribe below, like this video, and I will see you on my next one. Bye!